This is the round ahead. Thanks to Coles, Sarah Olle back with Chad Wingard and Josh Gabelich. And guys, we are here. The round 24 fixture is upon us, so let's have a look at how it is shaping up on Thursday night. It begins at the G, the Bombers and the Blues on Friday, a double-header, first at the MCG, then to Adelaide Oval. On Saturday, we begin at Marvel with North and the Crows. Then it's the Tigers and the Cats before we go out west, the Eagles and the Swans. On Sunday, the Giants and the Saints. Then the big one at Marvel, the Dogs and the Dockers. Then it's up to the Gabba, the Lions and the Hawks. That'll help shake out the 8. And don't forget on Wednesday, yes, Wednesday, there is another game. The Suns and Essendon meet again. But it all kicks off on Thursday night. Thanks to Coles, it is Carlton and Essendon. And Josh, there hasn't been many reasons for the Dons fans to celebrate this year. But on Thursday night at the G, they've got 250 reasons to get behind Zach Merritt.
1 week after they hoped they'd get to this milestone, but Zach Merritt is good to go. He broke his hand back in round 22 against Geelong, missed last week against St Kilda. But from the moment he broke his hand in the third quarter, he was determined to get back and play this year. So he gets back for round 24, and as you touched on, he reaches 250 and he's absolutely raced there. He's 29 years of age, he's a 5-time best and fairest winner. By the end of this year, he could be a 6-time Crichton medalist. He's the second player from that 2013 draft behind Marcus Bontempelli to reach this milestone. And Chad, when you think of his age and his form, I mean, 350 feels realistic. Is 400 beyond him?
I don't maybe 400 might be, that's pretty hard to get. But the way that he plays, it's not. You think about the Pendlebury, the guys that aren't relying on their pace, like he's a smooth mover, he's an elite kick. He can go back to, I suppose, the back half eventually in his career because he's proven that he can, I suppose, set the team up from there. So, yeah, the sky's the limit, but he's been a sensational player.
Given the injuries to the Bombers this year, they had to get creative with their list. And a mid-season recruit who's been a really big find, Josh, is Liam McMahon. 11 goals from 5 games and 7 in the past fortnight. Not bad.
Well, Sarah, tomorrow night is so meaningless that it's not even broadcast on free-to-air TV, but it is incredibly meaningful for Liam McMahon because this is a guy that spent 2.5 years in Carlton's VFL program. He did the full pre-season with Michael Voss's squad. He was overlooked at the SSP deadline. He had to go back and play with the reserves. And he played so well that Essendon picked him with the final pick in the mid-season rookie draft. And as you touched on, his first 5 games of league football have been eye-catching. 11 goals, but 11 goals too. He's going at 85% conversion rate, Chad. He's taking all of his chances. Doesn't have a contract just yet for next year.
Will he get one?
I think he'll get one, given what he's produced across his first 5 games. There's a contract squeeze there because of how many players they've had to bring in this year, 4 in the mid-season, plus over the summer as well. But I think he's been one of the great finds of this year's mid-season rookie draft. And he's a great story, given he's going to face Carlton for the first time, a club that he knows very well.
Now Sunday, 3:15 p.m. Eastern at Marvel Stadium. You've got to be there. It's the Dogs and the Dockers in what is ostensibly an elimination final come early. Josh, the big selection question for Luke Beveridge is whether or not he rolls the dice on Adam Treloar, who we haven't seen since round 15. Injury plagued. We know at his best he's an All-Australian mid. Where's he at? Will they take the chance?
Well, you're right. This is the big selection question of round 24. I mean, I think you go with Adam Treloar. He got back through the VFL on the weekend. He had 40 disposals, 10 tackles, 9 clearances and 84 minutes of game time. So managed minutes. Ideally, he'd have one more week in the VFL. There's no VFL game this weekend, so he needs to come in. This is a wildcard final. Make no mistake, this is huge for them and for him. Doesn't have a contract yet for next year. Only played the 4 games this year, coming off an All-Australian year. Has had so many issues with his calves, dating back to the off-season when he first started Australian, then barely did any of the pre-season. But every game he's come in and played this year, Chad, he's performed. Only had some issues post-game, subbed out of round 15. That was the other issue there. What are you doing if you're Luke Beveridge? I mean, there is so much on the line. He's must listen, isn't he, Sarah? When we think back to his press conferences, he calls this the Michael Hazel approach. Now, who is Michael Hazel?
Who is he?
He was an Amos legend, and we know St. Bede's Mentone and what Luke Beveridge did there. But he brought him back in for a final, Michael Hazel, and he dominated. And he said he's been talking about Adam Treloar in a similar way. If you're the Western Bulldogs, are you bringing him in?
I think you've got to bring him in, whether it's a sub or in the 22. He's just got to be there. I mean, the game means too much, and he's too good of a player to just leave on the sidelines this week. He just has to be there.
Will be intriguing to see if Jordan Croft, one of the father's sons at the Dogs, keeps his spot. He was pretty handy on debut last week. And look at this beautiful photo. If you do like the romance, Josh, as you do, of the father-son, that one's going on the hall table, isn't it?
You know, I love it, Sarah. And clearly the Western Bulldogs have been the big winners of the genetic lottery because of how many father-son hits they've had so far. And you look at those 4 players. I mean, Sam Darcy is a sensation. Tom Liberatore has been a heart and soul player and been involved with that club since the moment he was born. And Riley West plays like someone who is invested like long term, which he is. And we saw, Chad, from Jordan Croft that he has a big future in this game. He was taken the first round 2 years ago and he showed why.
I agree. I mean, that mark you just saw how much... Yeah. That was an amazing mark for a player to come in and do that. We thought it was going to be maybe a week in, week out. But does he keep his spot, Josh? I mean, he played so well and showed so many signs.
Well, I think he might, Chad, because he had a great patch of form. Sarah at VFL level had dominated for 4 weeks. That's why they brought him in round 23, and I can't see him coming out.
Adds a bit of spunk as well, which I like. For the Dockers, I mean, it would be a real shame if they don't play finals. Since the bye, they are 8-2, but that's how tight this season is, and it has us feeling a little bit of deja vu when it comes to last year, because they looked like a lock, Josh, to play finals. They were 3rd on the ladder after round 20, and then look at those 4 losses to finish 10th. I mean, this is a bit of a different season, but it would be a shame, wouldn't it, given what happened last year, and their form this year against some of the better sides is really stacked up.
It would be a disaster for them to miss. Remarkable to think they've won 15 games and they might not play finals. I mean, just like Adam Treloar, Chad, if you are Justin Longmuir, are you rolling the dice with Hayden Young this week? He's had so many issues with his body this year. Nat Fyfe is another one who has been in the 23. What are you doing with these two, especially Hayden Young?
Well, Hayden Young is a little bit different because obviously the age compared to Treloar, you've got to be careful because he's so important for the future of them. And I still think, again, it's game on the line. As a player, you want to be in this game. So I think and it's hard for a coach to kind of hold your players back when they're so important for the team. So I feel like, again, he played as a sub recently and had a really good impact. I feel like you've got to maybe potentially look at that, but you've got to get your best players on the field at the most important time.
Main training today for the Dockers, so that one will be a big one for Hayden Young, looking to come back from that groin injury. And make sure you watch 7 footy on Sunday, the Dogs and the Dockers, for a live Coles goal and an exclusive Coles app offer. Let's get to the other big game on Sunday, this one at the Gabba between Hawthorn and the Lions, and it is a milestone match for Dane Zorko. 300 games, if you don't mind. It's incredible, Josh, for someone who didn't start playing AFL footy until they were 23, and he keeps getting better with age, doesn't he?
And he's going to go around again, Sarah, next year and try and break Simon Black's long-standing games record. But you're right, remarkable to think this guy was 23 when he made his AFL debut, and we always focus on the players that they've recruited to that club, the success they've had at the trade period, when you think of Joe Danaher and Josh Dunkley, Charlie Cameron, all these types. I'm missing some there as well. Lachie Neale, a 2-time Brownlow medalist. Don't forget that the Gold Coast Suns traded Dane Zorko to the Brisbane Lions back in 2011. Quite incredible to think what he's done at that club. 5-time best and fairest winner. Charlie Cameron plays game 250 as well, so it is a milestone game and so much on the line. But he's been one of the all-time greats now, Sarah, of the Brisbane Lions.
Plenty of reason to celebrate for the Lions there, with 2 of their favourites celebrating their own milestones. But the injuries, Chad, are beginning to mount at the wrong time of year. Eric Hipwood, their forward, who would have played game 200 if he was fit, now added there for 3 to 4 weeks with a calf. I mean, health is wealth at this time of year, and they've got a few issues, the reigning premiers, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And like I said, we spoke about the players that are potentially coming in for Western Bulldogs and Freo. Look at Brisbane's injury list today, as you can see, extensive list and players that are super important for their success. So again, a lot of teams will say next man up mentality.
Yeah.
And again, Brisbane have no other choice.
It's going to be tough as well against the Hawks, who are in scintillating form. And one of the recruits of the year has been Josh Battle. Josh, he's lining up the scalps, isn't he?
He certainly is, Sarah. I mean, so much of the focus at Hawthorn of late has been around the tall 4 inside 50. But I think the real improvement at Hawthorn this year has been down back. They've gone and become a top 4 backline this year following the acquisitions of not just Josh Battle, but Tom Barrass. And you look at Josh Battle's year to date, and it's only Jeremy Cameron that's kicked multiple goals on him. Now, clearly, these are the matchups of 40 minutes or more. Jeremy Cameron only kicked 2 goals on him that day in 123 minutes. So he's done a number on Charlie Curnow across the year. That's been celebrated, of course. Look how diverse those players are that he's played on. So I think he's formed a really good partnership with Tom Barrass, but it's not just him that's played really well this year. I know you've been big on Tom Barrass, Chad. Blake Hardwick's another one that doesn't get the love he deserves, and James Sicily's returned to great form.
Well, I think their whole backline. I mean, Carl Amon's had another amazing year. And so is Jarman Impey, who's gone under the radar. So this whole back six, and you've got Scrimshaw, you've got guys that have came
It's their strength.
Yeah, it's their strength at the moment. Like we said, Hawthorn is their midfield, that's a little bit of their weakness, but their back six, back seven is really strong.
All right, you two are also really strong. Please get up to the wall because the top 5 is coming and it's got a bit of a difference this week, almost a bit of a guess who feel, if you know what I mean. We just saw one of the recruits of the year and Josh and Chad are going to go through the top 5, or at least Chad's top 5, Josh.
Well, Sarah, another trade period is almost upon us, but as we head towards round 24, it's time to look at the best recruits from last October's trade period. And Chad, there were plenty of blockbuster trades, but there was one right before the deadline that involved 3 players swapping clubs, and I dare say that most of them are going to feature in your top 5.
Yes, we're going to start with the 5th pick, and that's going to be Jack Macrae. This is the hardest one for me, the 5th one, and Macrae, the reason why he is there is he's 7+ disposals than he did last year. He's 25 disposals for the season, which is more than LDU, Cripps and Dawson. And obviously his career high with 7 clearances really revitalised his career, and he's 4th in a competition for that. So he's came in, done the role, but yeah, he's been super impressive for him. He
was a 3-time All-Australian at the Western Bulldogs, but he has certainly reignited his career at Moorabbin. Now, one of the biggest names to leave and move clubs last October was Shea Bolton. His trade involved 4 first-round picks changing hands. How have you rated his first season at the Dockers?
Yeah, it's been a little bit up and down, but it's still the potency up forward has been super impressive, and it's what they've needed. I mean, you think about he's averaging 18 disposals, 1.2 goals a game, 13 goal assists, and he's 7th. He's 7 score involvements, which is 5th amongst forwards. So a 10.2 player rating, super potent, adds that, I suppose, a bit of spice up there, obviously with Walters retiring. So he's been a super important player for him. Got to be massive for him if they get across the line this week.
Now, when last year's trade period ended, everyone expected Dan Houston to feature among the recruits of the year. It hasn't quite transpired that way to date. Another player that was involved in that 5-player, 3-club trade, I think, is going to be number 3 on your list.
John Noble, he's been unbelievable. I love what I see from this young player. His career high with 25 disposals, 10th amongst us defenders. And the reason why he's so high on the list, 3rd, is he just adds that element that Gold Coast have really needed the last few years, as well as Daniel Rioli, which is that speed off their backline, the score involvement, starting their ball movement. So he's been super important for them, and will be if they get in the finals.
Yeah, you're right. And Dan Morelli probably would be in this list if he didn't get injured. But those two have completely transformed their ball movement backwards of centre. Speaking of transformations, Matt Kennedy has enjoyed a career transformation since moving on a deadline day. Is he the most improved player that moved clubs last year?
I think he is. I think he's the steal of the trade, deadline. And the reasons why, he's got 19 goal assists for the seasons, 21 goals himself. Only 4 players in the competition average over 20 disposals and 1 goal a game. Rankin, Heaney, Bontempelli and Matt Kennedy. That's how important he's been, influential he's been this year.
There can be only one recruit of the year. It's an obvious one. He's a Brownlow medal contender. He's being measured up for his first All-Australian blazer right now. He's the blonde bombshell at Cardinia Park.
Yes, the aura on and off the field, he's been amazing for him. I mean, he's leading the league with disposals with 31 a game. He's played 19 games this year. Mind you, he's missed a whole season with an ACL. So for him to come back on the scene and dominate the way he has been, it's been remarkable. And you think about the swagger, the aura that he's bringing to the Cattery. I hate to say it, Josh, the Cats have done it again. They've got a guy from nowhere and who's made a massive impact and will in the finals.
They don't miss at the draft and they really miss at the trade table. No Hawthorn players in this top 5. I thought just after our discussion then you'd sneak in a Josh Battle or a Tom Barras.
Yeah, you've stitched me up.
Are they stiff?
I think they are stiff. The reasons why I didn't pick them is because I think Jarman Impey, Carl Amon, and even Sicily are having better years than Battle and Barras, just because I know if you're 4th or 5th best defender in your team, it's hard to go past this list of top 5.
Who did he miss, Sarah? Anyone there?
Oh, I reckon Alex Neil. Bullen is stiff, but it is a competitive list to be part of, and I think Bailey Smith, the obvious number 1 there. Let's head to the MCG on Friday night. That's where Collingwood is facing Melbourne. The Pies remarkably have lost 5 of their past 6 matches. Josh, much has been made of the ageing profile of Craig McRae's list, but we're going to take a look at the forward line woes because it has been trending downward now for some time.
It certainly has, Sarah, and they were celebrated earlier in the year for their performances. Let's have a look at some of the drop-offs here. I mean, Jamie Elliott was a lock for an All-Australian blazer at round 17, and he's just come off a touch. But you look at Brodie Mychek and Dan McStay, and they've both come off as well. So collectively, forward of centre, they're just not having the impact that they had in the first half of the year, Chad.
Yeah, and without Bobby Hill as well. One thing from the eye test is that the pressure's just not there. So you're missing the Bobby Hills, but it's all over the ground.
Been in and out.
Yeah, and exactly right. And he's a super important player for him. So they're just lacking a little bit of polish and pressure around the ground as well.
What about for the Ds and Keziah Pickett? Chad, I know a favourite of yours. You're making a case that he should firmly be in All-Australian discussions.
I still think he should be in All-Australian discussions. The reasons why, he's been super potent all year. Yes, he's missed a few games, but he's averaging nearly 20 disposals a game, 2 goals a game as well, which is third amongst small forwards. And the other guys like Jack Higgins and Jamie Elliott are averaging nearly 10 disposals less. So they're the guys that I suppose he's going to go away from. Maybe Heaney as well, because he's kind of playing a similar role. But 7.1 score involvements, which is 12th in the competition. He is super important, and he's, like I said, in a team that's struggling, he's really been a shining light.
Can you pick him and Isaac Heaney in the same All-Australian team?
I think so. They're both doing something that people haven't done in a long time, which is scoring and getting disposals and impacting all over the ground. It's pretty impressive what they're both doing.
So there's another game on Friday night, this one at Adelaide Oval. And after 13 seasons, it's curtains for coach Ken Hinkley. It's also a farewell game for the much-loved veteran in Travis Boak. These are two men, Chad, who have played a part in your football experience and journey. We can see there, thanks for the memories. It'll be a special but sad night, given that these two men have been the front and centre of Port Adelaide for so long now.
Yeah, and not too long ago in 2012, where the club was really on its knees, and these are the two, I suppose, key pillars of that obviously built the team back up. They were averaging. I mean, Kenny Hinkley's been well known that he's got one of the best winning percentages, but just didn't obviously reach the grand final. But 4 prelim finals, and you think about Port Adelaide, they were in 2012 they had 36,000 members. Now in 2025, tarps on the seats. We had 10,000 people in our first game that I played in 2013. Now they're up to 66,000, which is 10th in the competition. Home attendance. They were the worst team outside of GWS and Gold Coast Suns that year before Kenny came. 2025, now they're 10th. So you think about how far they've come, and Boakey, what can you say about him? I mean, 7th all-time in games played, 3-time All-Australian, 3-time showdown medalist. He's captain, obviously, for 5-6 years, and to be honest, he's the best leader that I've ever played under. He's a guy that leads by example, but also is the nicest person off the field and cares about you. I mean, 2-time best and fairest, 5-time runner-up best and fairest, mind you, as well, which just shows the consistency. And like I just said, he's Port Adelaide through and through. Had the opportunity to leave and obviously go back home or close to home in Geelong. So credits, hats off to him, well done. And I think make sure all Port Adelaide fans go out there and say your thanks this weekend, because they've been huge for him.
387 games, Josh, is what he's going to finish on. Not bad at all. But Gold Coast Suns, they have another game, because remember off the top, there's a game on next Wednesday against Essendon. This is all because of Cyclone Alfred. We had to push this game back. It means the Suns have a myriad of places they could finish on the ladder, because 2 losses would see them miss out on finals altogether, Josh. That is pretty unlikely. You can see the other scenarios there. It's 3rd could be their best, or 8th could be their worst if they win one or both games.
Well, we all expect them to beat an undermanned Essendon next Wednesday night up there. You just don't know what emotion's going to do. Port Adelaide have been in horrific form this year, but can they get up like they've done many times before under Ken Hinkley? Win both and you get a double chance. It would be a special way to play in September for the first time.
Finals scenarios. I got a chuckle out of that one. Not bad at all.
I knew you would.
So North Melbourne play Adelaide at Marvel Stadium, this one on Saturday. Now, as we are recording the round ahead, thanks to Coles, we still don't know if there's going to be a penalty handed down to Crow Isaac Rankin. Josh, should he be suspended? Josh Rochelle is the player that the Crows have in the wings to come back in. As much of a like-for-like as you can get, where's he at? Could he be available for a big finals campaign?
Well, the expectation right now, Sarah, is he won't be available for the first final, but if they were to lose that, he should be right to go by semi-final weekend. That's the incident there in round 17. Pretty scary. They thought maybe an ACL, it was a PCL, a capsule issue in the end. So he hasn't played since then. He was in such good form at the start of the year. I mean, ideally, they were hoping to have him and Rankin playing in the same forward line in September, but probably that doesn't happen now.
It's going to be pretty tough without him. So make sure you keep clicking back to afl.com.au and the AFL Live app to see what happens there. Hey, it was a week to celebrate at St Kilda because Nasiah Wanganeen-Millerer, he has become the first $2 million man. He's recommitted to the club for a further 2 seasons. The Saints come up against the Giants this week, and this is how it all went down at Moorabbin.
And Harry, do you want to tell everyone the news? Can you say it loud? So who's staying? Can you say the name? No. Naz is staying.
We love Harriet. And we love Naz.
Little Harriet getting a little bit camera shy there, but that was a very sweet moment, Josh, and one that had St Kilda fans celebrating all week. Who cares if they don't beat the Giants this week? They've got the big win in Nasiah.
I know, one of the more incredible moments in recent history for that club, which feels strange, Chad, because it's an off-field moment. It's a recommitment of a player, not a signing of a new player, but it does feel that significant because of how impactful he's been this year.
Well, the snowball effect. I mean, who's going to come now as well? Like, this is just the first one, I think, and it's the most important piece of the cog of the wheel, if you're being honest. Like, he is a superstar. I'm surprised and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the competition, happy for the Saints. Good on him.
For the Giants, Josh, Finn Callaghan, he's putting together a sneaky good season. Could he be in all Australian calculations? I mean, it is so competitive in the engine room to get a spot there, but he's having a remarkable year.
He is, Sarah, and just because he plays off Broadway doesn't mean he isn't a Rolls Royce. He is a superstar of the future and a star of the present right now. I think he's going to surprise a few with Brownlow medal votes. It feels like he's got a high 20s in him, Chad, come that special Monday night, but become a brilliant run and gun player in the competition, only behind Naz, Baz and Max Holmes when it comes to metres gained. So he's in rare company there. He's so damaging, averaging 28 disposals per game, and just become an absolute weapon, recommitted there for another 4 years as well. So they've absolutely nailed one there in Finn Callaghan.
We're going to stick with the Giants when it comes to your player portrait for this week, Josh. There's been plenty of beauties throughout the season, and this one with Connor Iden, I think, one of your best.
Sarah, sometimes an interview sticks with you. That was certainly the case when Roaming Brian spoke to Connor Iden and his dad after a win at NG Stadium in March last year. The pair hadn't seen each other for 10 years and had literally just started speaking when Brian Taylor started interviewing them on Channel 7. Things have changed from that moment. Not only has Connor reconnected with his dad Zach and his older brother Chris, he's also connected with his Ghanaian heritage. See, Connor was born in England but moved to Australia at the age of 4 when his parents separated. At primary school in Drysdale, he looked different to everyone else but didn't know any different. In fact, he knew very little about where he was from. That moment last year made him want to learn more about his ancestry. Steve Canilio has always led the way in this area at the Giants, exploring his Italian heritage and growing the game in Western Sydney. Now Iden is following his lead out at clinics, proud to be one of 4 Ghanaian players in the game, along with Isaac Quainer, Joel Amadi and Brandon Walker. One small thing that stood out from our chat last week that sums up the Giants culture was this. The club is full of soccer supporters. They often wear jerseys in the gym or doing craft. Toby Green often wears the Black Stars jersey, the Ghanaian national team top for Iden. Little things matter. This October, Connor will meet his dad and his brother in the UK and then travel with them to Accra for a week in the capital of Ghana. 2 of his best mates from the club are coming, Tom Green and Brent Daniels. Every weekend in season, Connor Iden is one of the most reliable defenders in the game with one of the longest contracts in the game. But this off-season, he's on a mission to find out why he is who he is.
Thanks to Josh there. And we head to the MCG for Richmond and Geelong. Josh, this could be a nice opportunity for the Tigers to see a forgotten young gun.
Well, hopefully, Sarah, because Josh Gibkiss has been through so much with his body over the past few years. Barely played since 2022, but now played the last 6 games in the VFL, coming off a knee reconstruction. Before that, it was a really complex hamstring injury that he had to go all the way to Qatar to solve. But with 1 game to go, the plan had always been to get him back. So hopefully we see him against the Cats on Saturday.
Another match on Saturday, this one at Optus Stadium. Chad, the Eagles and the Swans. Give us one reason to have a look, please.
Well, can West Coast Eagle win their second game for the season? Because if they don't, it's going to be historically one of the worst seasons ever in the VFL AFL season. So again, can they get up against Sydney? Have they checked out? Wait and see.
We'll have to tune in and find out. And make sure you tune in to all the W content across our platforms. The W Show is back on Thursday, and then on Sunday night, the wrap with Kate McCarthy for everything you need to know from round 2. But this has been the round ahead. Thanks to Coles. We're here, everyone. Round 24 before finals. We'll see you then.